Hey there, this is Dr. Chris Marshall, or just call me Chris. I am a program mentor with the MSML program in my third year with WGU, and I absolutely love it. And I had a thought about a presentation possibility for our summit here coming up in October. And my proposal is around the idea of what I would call differentiated leadership. It sounds really technical, but really the subtitle would be living and leading with freedom in a really anxious world. That's obviously always been, anxiety is something our world is full of. And post-COVID and pandemic, obviously, anxiety it just rules the day. I'm pulling most of my thoughts from one of my favorite books on leadership, Edwin Friedman's book, A Failure of Nerve, which is a kind of a really organic cell theory model of leadership. And it's basically that leadership is like the best leader is the non-anxious presence in any system. A company, a group, a family, a team, a relationship. It's really about an emotional process as opposed to like skills and strategy. And that's like the highest level of leadership. It requires a good amount of self-awareness and high emotional IQ. So taking this, some of the content would be that strong, again, leadership and influence is, it's not a strategy or a skill, but really predominantly it's an emotional process to your world. It's a response to our world. So believing that with a really well-defined core, someone who's differentiated can know who they are and respond to the world without anxiety. So instead of taking on from the outside what is going on in all of the craziness of our context, but what rather we can lead with kind of freedom and purpose and emotional freedom to what's going on around us, so that we're the non-anxious presence. We're the ones that people are looking up to and can model to and can really respond to. It's basically a way with being self-regulated, and it sounds really technical, but I really want to make this very practical. It's just like managing and regulating your own anxiety. It's a systems perspective that around us is kind of pools of anxiety, and we're wanting to be healthy in that. Friedman uses a really organic model, the idea that that we can be healthy cells as opposed to like cancerous, unhealthy cells, that they don't have a defined core. So they move around in the system with a lot of anxiety and attach to the anxieties of others. Healthy cells, those who know who they are, have a real core guiding principles, and can live not connected to the system, but not of the system of anxiety, like our world, our culture, and then can live in a sense of freedom from it, without the chaos. That's the important part. Healthy leadership is a way to stay connected, but boundaried. So like we want to serve our students. We want to serve all the kind of the craziness going on around us without becoming a part of it. Or being, overtaken by all the problems and issues and challenges that are out there beyond us. We want to recognize sabotage. We have personal kinds of sabotage, and then we have sabotage that's out there that triggers us to more anxiety. And just recognizing and being able to think through like, oh, those are the things that really trip me up. And they always have tripped me up. And how do I recognize them and see them and maybe have some strategies around not getting, caught up in those anxieties. The ideas of like not being, again, sucked in or caught up in where others are feeling, what anxieties they have, but staying within ourselves and who we are and what we have to do today. And really already making those decisions ahead of time in our day. So we're not really everything like in the news, the world out there is telling us to pre-worry about things in the future. Like, will we ever have, a vaccine to this virus? We don't know, but how do we live today with freedom? Will this happen? Will this happen, down the road? Like, I don't know. But what do I have today to live in and be boundaried and like know who I am and be able to offer a real positive and powerful leadership response? If we model that kind of leadership with our students and even in our teams and our groups, we diffuse anxiety and bring a real maturity and emotional maturity and leadership maturity to our organization, to our university, but then also, again, to our students. Also, and finally, that this is not, we don't just arrive at this place of healthy leadership, it's a direction. It's a direction that we are always moving towards. So it's not static, it's moving. It's more about behaviors and habits. And not getting down on ourselves if we have a day that we were anxious, but going like, okay, that's not who I intend to be. I want to improve on that. I want to grow in that. And so what direction am I moving in this area of healthy emotional leadership? The audience for this, I think any leader, it's, being a mentor, being a course instructor, being a program manager, being in any part of leadership within the university, but then also too, like for the students that we serve, they're going through tremendously anxious things with all of their schedules and taking on their degree programs in the middle of that. So how can we model for them and offer them this real freedom amongst all the anxieties that are out there? Because it is possible. We can live free and differentiated from these things, but it's also very intentional. Really the takeaway for me, for folks, I just want them to walk out and experience it and go like, just going through this kind of process of talking about it and reflecting on it, that I feel more free. I'm more aware of what's triggering me. I'm more aware that I'm a part of a system out here of anxieties and emotions, and I can manage them. And I don't have to be a victim to them. And after just some content, I want to keep it, obviously these are kind of big concepts and can be a little abstract. I want to make them real concrete and easy to kind of like hang on to. And so the self-reflection is a big part. So listing things like gratitude. What am I grateful for today? That keeps me away from the anxiety out here because I'm grateful for what's already here and happening in the now, and listing those things out specifically. Really thinking through what triggers are kinds of things like, add resistance to us in not feeling free, but in feeling anxious. What are those triggers? Recognizing some of those, perhaps listing those out in personal reflection. And then, like, what are some of our guiding values? It may be different for all of us. That's just like a strong guiding process or a value for us. For me, like, positivity is a huge piece. So I'm going to make a decision in the morning before I even go into my emails, into my calls, and saying, how can I be, just in a world of such negativity and anxiety, how can I offer positivity today? I want to be focused there and approach my day already making a pre-decision about that before I even get into it. And then really close, I think, with giving each other advice on how this can be applied to our roles at WGU, within our teams, definitely with our students, that we can really, in a world and in a culture and in a nation that's just suffering with chronic anxiety, how can we at WGU lead with a real kind of mature, self-aware, differentiated leadership, that we are the non-anxious presence, therefore we're the answer to the future? It's worth a thought.